Okay, coming off a tough loss, I will say this, we played our best football game of the year. Came up a little short against one of the top teams in the country on their home field. I think that's the big picture view of everything. We had a good practice last night. Our guys are looking forward to finishing the season strong, and so obviously we're playing West Virginia, a team that has a head coach I've got a lot of respect for. Offensively, they run the football. Defensively, they present some different things. You look at they're number 7 in the country in time of possession. They run the football. They get off the field. They're good on third down. They're number 15 in the country in penalties, so they're a disciplined team. We did get better in that area. That was one of our focuses too, of not beating ourselves with the penalties. We've got to continue to improve in that area. But we're excited about homecoming, excited about playing at home. Like I said, our guys are really excited to play this one. Questions?
What's the health status of your team entering the game week? We know a lot of guys were down with flu-like symptoms.
Yeah, and that was, the flu bug got us on the way over there. There was a lot of people, but our guys showed a lot of guts. I mean, they pushed through and had a handful of guys that we were a little worried about even not playing that ended up and gutted out for our team. So I'm real proud of them. Hopefully we had a couple guys that didn't practice last night that we had to send home. We're hoping as the week gets going on, we can kind of get that behind us. As far as, banged up, I mean, that was a physical game. Got a couple guys a little banged up. I think you probably saw that fought through to the end and tried to help us win. So we'll have to get those guys healed up too.
Gus, I asked Darren this last night about the 2-point play that you guys ran against Oklahoma, and I asked about how many plays do you guys have 2-point plays, and what makes a good 2-point play? What's something that really can help in that situation?
Well, that is effective. That's the bottom line about 2-point plays, and that was one that at the time obviously we went with. It didn't work, and anytime you got a play like that doesn't work, I mean you're going to be criticized, and rightly so. I mean that's a big moment, and but at the time that was a play that's worked, and so. We had probably 2 or 3 others that you carry. You always got to be prepared for overtime with the new rules and all that, but obviously it didn't work. It doesn't matter. It wasn't that it didn't work. And when a big moment like that, we'll have to do a better job next time that presents itself.
Coach, you mentioned that there was a spirit practice yesterday that you guys played your best game of the season.
Yeah.
I know you're not in the world victories, but how important is it for players to see that despite the loss and carry that?
Well, I think more than anything, you can ask our 2 players are going to be up here in just a minute, but just getting our edge back, who we are. The off week, it really changed a lot of things, and kind of getting back to really who we are at our core. And that really helped, and just the accountability, the discipline part. We played cleaner football. I mean, there were still some penalties, but we played cleaner football. We played extremely hard. We played together. Our coaches coach with great energy. So we're in a spot, and after the game, that wasn't like a coach speak. I mean, I really believe we're going to finish strong, and I know our players do too, and trying to be the best version of us. And like I always say, there's not a whole lot of teams in college football that can get better. And the fact it's game 7 and we got better, that's really good. And getting kind of back who we are, that'll help us.
Back on the 2-point play, one of the chief criticisms is that you're taking the quarterback out, or the ball out of the quarterback's hands. How do you respond to that criticism?
I think that's a fair criticism when the play doesn't work like that. So, if it had worked, we wouldn't have this conversation, but it doesn't work. Quarterback didn't have it in his hands. I think that's a fair criticism.
Coach, you coach a lot of football. Have you ever lost 4 games in a row? And in your experience, what can you do to kind of keep the locker room not only together, but also keep these guys moving forward?
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't know I know it's the first time in college I've lost four games in a row. It's a little new territory with that. But, as far as our locker room is strong. I mean, our guys, they're not flinching. They're ready for the next game. We got a bunch of high character team type guys, and you'll see the way we play, moving forward. But this deal's not about me. I need to do everything in my power to help our guys win, and really that's the only thing on my mind.
As you mentioned, West Virginia is a very run-heavy team, if not run-dependent. So what sort of trends did you notice in the Oklahoma game where you guys were successful against the run that can carry over?
You talking about on defense?
Yes.
Yeah, we got to just continue to grow, stopping the runs with our integrity of our run fits and everything coordinated together. We did get better. We took a step up. We're still got areas to improve on. We still got some things we can even do better. And, we're committed to doing that. And you do that in practice. And our guys practice extremely hard the last 2 weeks. Last night practice, you wouldn't know we came off a tough loss. I mean, they were ready to play. They're ready to compete. Looking forward to their next opportunity.
Seemed like maybe the scoring difference not necessarily was the 2-point conversion, but those opportunities in the third quarter, we had to settle for field goals
Yeah.
and not get touchdowns. When you review everything, what would you maybe?
Yeah, there was one. I think, we got the ball like right out of halftime. We had the pick on the 30-yard line, and we came up short. We got to be a little more aggressive in certain situations. There was 2 or 3 things that you look back and we got to do better next time. Some of it had to do with a little bit of execution, but bottom line is we didn't score. We didn't put points on the board other than a field goal on those opportunities. And when you're playing a team like that, I mean, you got to score touchdowns. And so, but really, yeah, we'll that was looked at, and so.
Coach, you've been around football locker rooms a long time. After the game, you kind of talked about some of the negatives of social media and how it impacts the team. This past week obviously went viral, like over 4 million views on all those touchdowns and everything. What are some of the positives and the changes you've seen over the years on how social media affects the locker room?
Say that last thing, 4,000, what was that?
The touchdowns and stuff this past week. A week ago, fans were negative. This week, fans are loving everything you guys did on the field. How does that kind of change the way that the team feels in social media as a positive?
They, like a coach, they pay us coaches a lot of money. That's part of our jobs. I mean, that's just, but it's always like players that I always get concerned about, because they read it and they believe what they see. And a lot of times, football's got more and more entertainment type than it used to be. And so I always just worry about our players and, how they're doing mentally through all that. And, it's really a challenge, for our locker room to stay together when things are going down. But that's a tribute to our players. Like, they hadn't flinched. Our leaders hadn't let any of that creep in. And I think that's pretty rare. And that gives us a chance to finish strong. And so, but yeah, our guys have handled it well. And I'm proud of them for that.
Defensively, the first quarter didn't go so well for the offense, but getting those 2 missed field goals, how important was that for building confidence?
Yeah, here's how I saw that. So we chose to take the ball, okay? And we wanted to go down and score and try to take the crowd out of it. And we went 3 and out or something, and then we had like 3 possessions that we laid an egg. Our defense had short fields, and they held them to field goal opportunity. That was a huge part of the game now. I mean, that is a deal where, short field, some of the best offense in the country, they go down and they put a couple touchdowns and the game's out of hand. So that was a critical deal for our defense. I was very proud of our defense for that. And then finally our offense got rolling, and but they kept us in the game right there that, it could get away from you.
West Virginia is 2-2 in the league. They very easily could be 3-1, maybe 4-0. Just what is a team that was picked to finish last, that's middle of the pack right now, just say about the overall strength and depth of this conference?
When you look at that, the whole conference, I mean, you knew, like, from top to bottom, there's a lot of really good teams. And I think you're seeing that. I think you're exactly right. I mean, they had the Houston game 1, and they threw up a Hail Mary, they caught it. They've been really close, and so they're a really good team. And there's a lot of good teams. I mean, there's no off weeks in this league. I think that's the number one thing that stands out to me. You got to play good football. You got to play good football to win, whether you're on the road or at home.
Coach, you talk about over the past couple of weeks, you've had more physical practices, one-on-ones. That's something you kind of look forward to now that you've seen the results on the field as far as tackling and things like that?
Yeah, there's that fine line that a coach goes through with trying to get his team healthy to the game, and then keeping that hard edge in practice. And so just for where we were at as a team, it was really common sense for me. Let's go back to old school, and let's get our edge back, and let's get that pride back of who we are at our core. And so our guys, they loved it, and they appreciated it. And so we kind of got that back, and we'll continue to do that the rest of the year, and that really helped us.
Coach, last time you guys were here in the Bounce House, everyone knows the loss to Baylor, but after last week's performance against Oklahoma, what's the confidence level that you have in your team right now?
Yeah, I really believe that 3-game stretch, I really believe that's behind us. I really do. It's in our rearview mirror, and we're moving forward in a positive way, and it's just a complete different mindset and approach. I mean, obviously, you got your quarterback, John Rice. I mean, when he's on the field, guys, I mean, we're a better team, and that's nothing against him. Timmy did an outstanding job. He's a really, really good quarterback in his own right, okay? But, you know, John Rice is our leader. Like, he's our team leader, and, like, it's just a different deal. And when we have him on the field, it helps our whole team.
Yes, for the most part, the defense played well up to past 3 quarters against Oklahoma, but in the 4th quarter, they lost a little steam, and then they get some guys going out with injuries. Again, an opportunity to finish a game strong. What do you guys need to do to finally kind of finish a game? And are you concerned about that, maybe depth a little bit on the defensive side?
You know, we're getting a little thinner. I think that's fair to say. We did wear down a little bit. I think that's fair to say. You know, we just got to find ways to finish. You know, and I really believe that this team is growing in a lot of positive ways, and in finishing games, you know, I really believe we'll do a better job of that.
As a play caller, do you believe in the concept that any sort of play can be described as too cute, or is it all results based?
It just depends, I would say. I mean, do you, any more specifics? Then that's kind of a big picture deal.
Like it was described on the broadcast as being a play that was too cute because it didn't work.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. If it didn't work, you know, and like I said, you get criticized. A play like that, if it works, I mean, you know, that's good. If it doesn't, it doesn't. John Rice didn't have the ball in his hands, you know, so I think all those criticisms are fair. So if that answers your question.
Who made the decision to have Addison on the sidelines, and how do you think that?
Yeah, I just felt like we needed, I know Addison is he's a really emotional guy, like energy guy, and like I just said, hey, we need to go on the sideline. So I made the call, and Gibbs went up. Gibbs hadn't been upstairs, I think, in, I don't know, 20 years, but it was just best for our team that our defensive leader was down there, and just so the emotion part and the energy part, it was just completely different, and it was different for our offense too. So I thought that was really good, and it really helped us.
Coach, how proud are you just seeing the development of your younger guys, you know, and some of the transfers getting the opportunity to kind of play this week and kind of show that they are ready for this opportunity?
Yeah, there's some of those guys that, you know, they played in prime time for the first time quality reps, and I think that really helped us. And we've been waiting on some of those guys to step up, and we had some guys do that.
Entering homecoming week, obviously still seeking that first Big 12 conference win. What will it mean when that team finally gets one to kind of say the journey UCF's made?
Yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully it'll happen this week. That's what we're focused on. I mean, we need to get a victory this week, and our guys are committed to that, and we have to earn it. And when we earn it, we'll be able to tell you, exactly how that feels.
Is there a final language between maybe showing personality and then doing something that could be a detriment to the team? I'm referring to Javon Baker blowing the kiss to the OU sideline. I mean, players want to do stuff that, you know, he was kind of alluding to goes viral, but something like that could cost you penalty-wise.
Yeah, I mean, you know, up to this point, up before last week, we've been a pretty undisciplined team with our penalties, and I take responsibility. I've said that every week. We're done with that, and you know, that was a deal that was, you know, a selfish deal, and we could have got the ball at the 40-yard line right there. Could have taken away a touchdown, and then we had the celebration penalty. You know, that's not acceptable, and I've got to do a better job of making sure our players understand that, and I'm pretty confident that'll never happen again. But bottom line, it happened in a big game, you know, that hurt us. We can't do anything. I mean, I want our guys to have fun. We'll get the sideline, and we'll do all the, you know, all that, but that's not really who we are.
Yes, you talked about the importance of getting that first Big 12 win at some point, but Does this feel like a must-win situation this weekend against West Virginia?
I think, you get in, like, our guys, if you ask those, like, every week feels that way. I mean, that's what we got to do. Every week we got to win. That's where we're at right now, and that's our approach. And, that's what our guys are committed to doing.
You mentioned how having John Rice back, just gave a little bit of a leadership bump, just gave a little energy bump. How is he feeling after that game? Where is he at health-wise? I know he was one of the guys that had a devastating.
Well, I think there's two things. You think his knee, and I told you all along, his knee's getting better, and he took some big-time hits. He actually, the one that he kept up the middle, that looked like close to the old John Rice. He put the jets on, then he slid, so he's getting closer, but my biggest concern was he had to have 3 IVs in a 24-hour period, and he didn't make the Friday night meeting. He had to go to bed like he was sick. And for him to go out there and perform, and the guts and everything that goes with it, to play quarterback and be he's got a lot of winter in him. And there were 13 other guys that did the same thing, okay, which, Xavier Townsend, he may have been a little bit even sicker than John Rice, and there's other guys too. So
You praised your defense, and it coincided with the return of Ricky Barber and Walter Yates. So what did those two guys in particular, when you look back at the tape, show to really kind of strengthen the unit?
Yeah, those are 2 big keys, and those are starters right in the middle of the defense. And when you don't have them, our depth at linebacker is not really deep, and so to have him back was really important. And of course, Ricky, he's an impact player. And, when you don't have an impact player like him, and you didn't have John Rice, that's have both those guys back were really big.
Coach, 6 of the last 7 games, you guys had interceptions in those games. Last year was a bit of a struggle kind of getting your hands on the ball. How much does that say about the emphasis Coach Addison has put on turnovers and what the DBs have done in the response?
Yeah, I think a lot of times too on the turnovers is, disguise and, confuse, and then mixing some zone with some man and all that. So we've been doing a better job of that. We did have another interception that right before half that was called a penalty, but I thought our guys did a great job of executing on that one.
You talked a bit about how viral plays and selfishness kind of go hand in hand. How has NIL kind of affected the way that players play on the field? Are they playing more as a brand? Have you noticed that at all?
No, I don't know. That's a off the field deal. Okay, when you're on the field, you're a team and all that, and you do everything in your power to help your team win. And so, that's the way I look at it.
More about West Virginia. Neil Brown was at Troy for a few years. We
Yeah.
were at Auburn. Is that a coach you're familiar with? Or?
Yeah, it is. He's a really good offensive coach. He's a good football coach, period. At Troy, he did an unbelievable job, and he's doing a really good job this year. I think somebody said it; they were picked last. They're not the last place team. They're a good football team that could be even better than their record. Real easy. You turn the film on, you can see. You look at the discipline of their program. That says a lot about him, and he's got the guys playing extremely hard.
Guess you guys haven't played a home game in about 3 weeks now. What are you looking for from the crowd being homecoming weekend, and how big would that be for you guys to get some of that?
No, there's no doubt. We're so excited to be home with our home crowd. Hoping it's a great homecoming crowd. I know it's an early game, and looking forward to playing in front of them. Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Coach.